Hello, I'm Darren McGee and welcome to my Mental Health Information and Awareness channel. Today's topic comes from a question following a previous video I made on atychiphobia, the fear of making mistakes, the fear of being wrong. And the question asked was, where does it come from? Now, if you find this video helpful, please check out my other videos on mental health related topics and please consider subscribing to my channel. So in order to answer that question, I think it's important to remember what atychiphobia is, as much as what it isn't. So first of all, a recap. The fear of making mistakes, the fear of being wrong. Sometimes it can be seen as or believed to be perfectionism, the need to be perfect. However, it is, looking at it the other way around, it is not the need to be perfect. It is the fear of being imperfect. It's the fear of being seen to be wrong, to be being told that you're wrong. I think it's fair also to distinguish the difference between the fear of being in error, the fear of making mistakes, and something like narcissism. Now, narcissists generally are perfect. They have the need to be right, to be the alpha, to know everything. But the truth is they have no problem with things going wrong, because when things go wrong, it's going to be someone else's fault. You know, they'll go through the most incredible verbal gymnastics to convince everybody nothing was their fault. The person with atychiphobia, they tend to take responsibility for things that go wrong. They believe that if they don't know something, if they don't know everything, if they're not able to do something flawlessly, that they believe that that's shameful. It's a reflection on them. They're only going to be accepted if they're flawless. I think it's one of those phobias that tends to feed off itself. Because if you think about it, you know, perfection, flawlessness, it doesn't really exist. It's unachievable. There may be different ways of doing something. It doesn't necessarily make them better. Nor can we know everything. We cannot factor in every single possible scenario or random factor that may come up that's going to affect an outcome. We can generally learn from our mistakes. That's how we grow, every bit as much as we build on our successes. With atychiphobia, the successes are certainly noted and so on. But even something like, say, 90 out of 100, the person with atychiphobia is going to be staring at the 10 that they got wrong, even though 90 is a very healthy pass indeed. And sometimes even before someone does a test, does an exam, someone with atychiphobia is fearing getting any wrong at all. Never mind just hoping to reach the pass mark. Now, at its worst, it can lead to someone becoming quite risk averse. Risk averse in the sense that they don't necessarily want to try anything new. Because if you think about it, to try anything is to risk failing. Every bit as much as you risk succeeding. Someone with atychiphobia may even fear failing at success. It can lead to constant second guessing, overanalyzing situation. People may become paralyzed when it comes to decision making, but not in the sense that they want to make the right choice. It's the fear of making the wrong one. And the thing is, we don't necessarily know what the wrong choice is or even what the best choice is until after we've made it, until after we're aware of the consequences or the outcome. So back to the question, where does it come from? Well, there's many different paths, I guess. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own experiences. And there is, of course, the age-old question, is it nature or is it nurture? So I'm going to try to answer it as best I can. And I'm going to begin by saying, I think it's nurture. Because remember, it's not the fear of being wrong. It's not the fear of making a mistake. It is the fear of being seen to have made a mistake. It is the fear of being told that you're wrong. So I think it comes from being in an environment, being raised in an environment, having spent a lot of time in an environment where someone has been constantly criticised, judged harshly by others, punished even sometimes, being held accountable for everything. Now, an example that comes to mind, and though not exclusively, but an example that comes to mind would be the narcissistic family. Now, I've made videos on narcissistic families, the roles in those narcissistic families. The partner and the children of the narcissist are going to fear making mistakes for a lot of different reasons. The golden child, they're going to fear making mistakes in case they lose that crown of being superior, being the favourite. The mascot is going to fear making a mistake because they need to show that family to be perfect at all times. The scapegoat, they're going to fear making mistakes because regardless of anything they ever did, it was never going to be good enough anyway. They were constantly scorned, constantly ridiculed. They were raised in an environment where they feared any kind of error because of the wrath that it brought. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to come from a narcissistic family. There are other situations someone may have found themselves in a competitive environment, say at school, playing a team sport or whatever, but not necessarily healthy competition. A competition, an environment where less than perfect was scorned, or still is being scorned. It's being ridiculed, where someone is continually being rejected for not being good enough. Because remember, we all have a need to be accepted. It's human nature. So being in any kind of fault, any kind of error, making any kind of mistake at all, it's going to bring that fear of being rejected. Other situations involve, say, being held to account for other people's expectations. You should be perfect. You should have known this. You should know how to. I thought more of you. All of those conditions that we have to live up to just to be accepted, that need to be accepted, which we all have, it's human nature. So again, it's not necessarily that need to be accepted, it is the fear of being rejected. So if we're being rejected for not being clairvoyant or whatever, that's putting us under a constant strain. In the here and now, someone could be in a very unhealthy, controlling, toxic relationship with someone who is, again, constantly fault-finding, constantly judging, constantly blaming. Someone may find themselves in a toxic workplace, a difficult manager, difficult co-workers. There's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of blame, but absolutely no responsibility. So in short, I think aticophobia comes from a fear of being judged, ridiculed, scorned, rejected by others who have unrealistic expectations. So they're my thoughts on where the fear of making mistakes, being wrong, comes from. If you have any comments, questions or experiences of your own, please let me know. Use the comment box below. I do like reading and responding to your comments. If you like this video, if you find it helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel for future updates on mental health related topics. And until next time, thanks for watching.